What's going on? Where am I today? Somebody asked me yesterday. I went to a 1 million cups networking yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
And, networking, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I haven't been in a while, but like COVID, right? Since COVID. And then I'm starting to come back. And 1 million cups is coming pretty strong now. Have you been lately?
I've been, yeah.
We had like 80 some folks in Frothy Beer.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that show up.
Uh-huh. But that place is like a giant hug when you walk in. The people there are so nice.
Well, they're all trying. Everybody's grinding, and they're in a room full of other triers and grinders, and business owners, and upward mobility seekers.
And I feel like they've taken like the entrepreneur route as far as the technology route. Like they've kind of embraced that over the past few years, right?
Yeah, I think it's changing, and they're doing a good job with it. A lot of attendance, a lot of cool ideas that get tossed around. And, not a bad spot right over the river in West Ashley.
Yeah, no, I think it's a lot of fun. Mike Compton here. We're at the Building Business Podcast, powered by the Mount Pleasant Chamber of Commerce. Today, we're here with the Economic Development Officer, Mr. Matthew Brady. Say hello, Mr. Matthew Brady.
Hey, everybody. Good to be here.
Good to have you.
Yeah.
Good to have you. I love these monthly updates, by the way. It's
I love him
selfishly,
too.
He's a cool guy, so I like to chat with him. So it's kind of like selfishly a way to kind of like, hey, Matt, hang out with me for a half hour, will you?
I'm here to hang out.
All right, let's do it. So literally going through, and this is kind of another way I want you to get the word out and communicate to our audience, right?
Yeah.
I literally went to your LinkedIn page because you are every day posting something cool. So let me first off start there. What is your handle at LinkedIn so that listeners can go there?
I think it's Matthew D. Brady. I'm not sure. But if you look for Matt Brady on there and you're in Charleston, I'll probably be one of the first people to pop up.
The Town of Mount Pleasant's Economic Development Officer.
That's right. Yeah.
Matthew Dennis Brady?
Durant.
Crickets. Good to know. Good to know.
It's a family name. Yeah.
Not like Durant. Oh, that's a bad joke.
I don't know if I even know that.
Duran, the old band.
I know Duran. Okay, got it. Following now.
All right, we're going to edit that one out. So LinkedIn is where you can find out all this information as well. And if you're big into, the new business development and where we're headed in Mount Pleasant, follow Matt Brady. Matt, I want to talk today about, the town's initiative and focus on tech and innovation and what that looks like in our economy. First up, I saw Tikva was something you were promoting. What's going on there? What happened?
Yeah, so Tikva is a sort of a insurance / wellness / innovation platform, and we've been working with them for a while, and they just had an official sort of Department of Commerce announcement to say they're locating officially in Mount Pleasant. They're in the Harbor Entrepreneur Center, which is really overperforming actually. And so they're locating now, and they're looking to grow their head count to like 13 over the next few years. So that's a good announcement. And while we're on that, we also had a company called Alita Health that was a Department of Commerce / Mount Pleasant / county announcement as well, that the week prior to Tikva announced that they would be headquartering in Mount Pleasant too. And so that's another 17-person headcount business. They don't have that many now, but they will over time. And so whereas a lot of these economic development announcements will say, XYZ companies investing a whole bunch in CapEx, which is going to be their building and equipment and stuff, and a zillion jobs. These jobs it's a smaller headcount, but they're all extremely well paying and sort of fit our community profile in terms of what we're trying to attract. And all companies in the innovation economy, tech, life science, sometimes logistics, sometimes creatives. But so those are two nice announcements that we've got under our belt so far this year, and I'm glad to see them here. I think they're going to scale and do well.
Amazing. But it keeps going. on the growth side of things, isn't the harbor opening up a new corridor?
So the harbor is entering into a lease to where they will control the entire building. So the entire building is 64,000 square feet, and they're sort of taking it down in thirds, roughly, 22 or so to start with. And they've got most of it now, and then there is a company that has vacated one whole wing of the building, and so they're going to take over that, and that will be more space to put companies. And so as many of our listeners may know, we work closely with the harbor on everything they do. We support them financially. We also support them from an economic development standpoint. And so that'll be a place for a lot of other good companies from either the incubation stage, or let's say we have a company that's looking to locate to the region and needs 10,000 square feet of office, and it's ready to go. It's turnkey. All you got to do is bring your laptop and start working. And so in that sense, it can serve as sort of a soft landing pad for a company that might want to be in town, test out the region and the market. And so it's a great thing.
It's lovely. I love it. It's all part of the plan, isn't it? The master plan.
It is part of our strategic goals. Was to find a physical space in town to incubate, to host entrepreneurs, to kind of create this sort of collision that the harbor is good at, and they are overperforming, in my opinion, exceeding our wildest expectations. And so the last time I checked, there were 109 companies in there, and that's everything from a guy that does to a company taking down a whole wing. That's everything from sort of startup-ish to maturing, growing companies that are likely going to scale, and once they're in town, their company becomes sticky, their capital becomes sticky, and they want to stay here and grow here, and that's our job to help them grow.
I love it. And the Mount Pleasant's so easy to start to love too, right? So once they come here, they're like, oh, okay, lifestyle, here we go.
It's a good community. Quality of life is great schools, the amenities are awesome, and Charleston broadly is a great place to live. So we're doing okay.
Speaking of, well, actually not speaking of, but we're talking about growth. The 450 Wando Park, that is really cool. Can you talk to that?
Yeah. So 450 Wando Park Boulevard is a roughly 154,000 square foot industrial building that is on the market right now. The company that started in there has since moved on, consolidated operations in Chattanooga, and so we have this opportunity ahead of us. And so I'm working with the broker, who is Bob Barano's group at CBRE. I don't think he'd mind giving him a shout out to amplify what they're doing to market this. And so it's a big building, but it's also dividable into smaller spaces all the way down to 11 or 13,000 square feet. So the whole thing's conditioned. The HVAC works great. It's 100 yards from the port
No kidding.
of South Carolina, and it's right there off the interstate. So it really can serve in a lot of capacities. So it can be life science. It could be distribution. There is also a really nice office space that could be just office for someone who needs it. And so anybody who happens to be listening to this, we'd love to take you around. There's a lot of sort of internal infrastructure like overhead cranes and a lot of bay doors, and the property owner, it's for sale or for lease. I believe the preference is lease, but everything, is on the table. But I know that they'd like to get at least up to great, strong tenants. And so there's probably opportunities for tenant upfits and incentives from us and the county and the state. So
ooh, now you're talking.
Give me a shout. Let's see what we could do to get you into this awesome building.
Sounds like a lot of growth factor, right? It sounds like our entrepreneurs that are listening. We've got the Harbor Center, Entrepreneur Center, and we've got this 450 Wando Park. You guys are working. You're working
We
hard.
are working. For the 450 Wando Park Boulevard it's a great asset, and it will be somebody great I know is going to go in there. It's tons of potential, and so yeah, our job is to sort of beat the bushes and But also, I think it's a great opportunity for a more homegrown company that maybe started they go from garage to a 3,000 square foot warehouse to maybe now it's time for something a little more mature as your company grows and scales. And that could be manufacturing or device manufacturing, value added, distribution. The possibilities are truly endless because the building's sort of agnostic is what it wants to be. So maybe you started down on the neck and it's time to be closer to home as an entrepreneur, which is very often Mount Pleasant or Daniel Island, and this kind of fits that bill. So
down at the neck.
Yeah.
Where's the neck? I know where the neck is.
The neck is, I guess it's that sort of, you call it between where Park Circle ends and downtown begins, maybe like
Sure.
the upper King area of town. And so if you've driven down there, you've seen there's a lot of industrial, there's some warehouses, and I just happen to know there's some companies that have started down there and maybe they're starting to outgrow that. And so it's time to move to the next phase of company physical location. And so this could be a good spot for them.
I love that, Matt. Good job. So kind of moving on a little bit, down your LinkedIn page, literally, I found a survey that you put out there.
Yeah. So this is kind of shifting gears here. So listener, go ahead and let your brain be empty for a moment so we can shift gears. But
yeah,
Mount Pleasant has a ton of aging strip retail commercial, right? So think about Johnny Dodds Boulevard, think about Coleman Boulevard, think about, those two main quarters. Let's start there, right? You think about what's out there from our grocery stores or small strip retail. And the most sustainable thing for a community is not to scrape something and start from scratch, right? Like the most sustainable thing would be to reuse the property that is there or redevelop it. Adaptive reuse is something that's a phrase out there in the development community that means you take a building and you breathe new life into it. It happens all the time. One of the best examples of that in Charleston is Park Circle. The entire East Montague Strip is adaptive reuse. So as these buildings and properties start to change hands and people want to reimagine them, what we found is the parking is not always where it needs to be per our regulations. So, and that can be like any community's regulations. And we're getting into the wonky part about land use policy and stuff. But basically the idea is you buy something, you want to invest, you know what you need as a business owner, but you don't have enough parking spaces. So my little survey, it was just, when adaptive reuse occurs or redevelopment, like, should there be, some communities have gone to no parking minimums. So what that means is that you'd build what you want to build and you park it how you want to park it. That is not, there's no community in South Carolina that's kind of gotten there yet. So the question was, do we go to zero parking minimums? Is it a case per case basis, or do we make them kind of just fit the mold? Investment be damned. And so the results were somewhere in the middle, right? Like most people said, maybe it's a case by case basis. So
sure.
I don't know what that might mean for us moving forward. I know, my job is to advocate for what is good for economic development. So economic development doesn't necessarily mean what's good for the business owner. It means what's good for the community.
Correct.
With the business owner in mind. And so I hope that we can kind of consider, that as redevelopment and adaptive reuse occurs, what does parking look like? Like we don't need every strip center to be parked like Black Friday at the mall, right? So
correct.
You want, although Black Friday at the mall probably is not nearly the same.
At the same time, zero parking sounds...
So it's scary, right?
I was going to use that word too.
It's scary. So this is getting into, as a disclaimer, I am not an elected official, and public policy is up to the purview of those under a representative democracy that got elected. So, but if you want to think about the some of the communities that have done this, like Austin or maybe Portland, Oregon, or some other smaller communities, like if you can't park it, like, is that the community's problem or is it the business owner's problem? So where it gets to be the community's problem is if people feel like folks are parking in their yards or whatever, and it's creating community issues. So
Isle of Palms, what?
Sorry. So that's something to consider. But also, I'm sort of a believer that people don't visit your downtown because you have a lot of parking. People don't visit anything because you got a lot of parking. People go because there's something cool there, and if they want to find a way to park, they will. Just look at
soccer matches at Patriots.
Right, yeah. That, or even like when there's a parade or there's a festival or whatever, like people are going to that thing. Yeah. They'll figure out parking when they get there. And so there are solutions to that, but that's just sort of, and the most of my followers on LinkedIn are sort of wonky government nerd types, and that's who responded to that kind of stuff.
Well, let's have our listeners respond. What were the choices on that? And they can make a comment or whatever.
Yeah, you'll have to comment. I think it like closed or whatever.
No, make a comment on any social media that we're on right now. Like,
So the questions was like an adaptive reuse or redevelopment situation. Should you, one, do zero parking rules? You know, the developer builds parking however they want. Should it be a case-by-case basis, or should you just have to comply with like the town's zoning code as it stands, which could be problematic and prohibitive for redevelopment? So those are the choices, and
love it.
I imagine most people kind of land somewhere in the middle.
Well, you would think.
Yeah,
you would think.
Yeah,
going to a soccer match and seeing the cars when everybody's parked is interesting.
I mean, I'm getting way into the weeds.
Sorry, I dug in this a little bit more.
There's a lot to be said for the American over-reliance on the automobile and its effect on community broadly.
Okay.
But that is getting into like,
that's another subject.
Planning and zoning
like
stuff.
Another episode.
But I mean, if you go to Europe or wherever, these cities are sort of dense, walkable, you have everything within, a safe walking distance, then, everybody loves that stuff. And if you get dropped off anywhere like that in the world, you're in a good place. But as we've developed and the automobiles become more ubiquitous, so like the last 100 years, right?
Sure.
Like that's why suburbs exist, because of the automobile. That's why downtowns sort of have suffered, is because of the automobile. But people kind of realize downtowns are cool, right? That's why downtown Charleston flourishes. That's why Park Circle rocks. That's why even like a place like Avondale once you get there, it becomes a downtown
location
spot. Yeah. And those are just three local ones here in Charleston to kind of think about. You're getting me in trouble with somebody.
I hope so. That's why we're here, Matt. This is great. This is great. And we can edit out anything you want to, boss. But this is a really interesting conversation, Matt. Thank you.
Yeah.
I don't want to take up any more of your time. Do you have any other things that you want to discuss?
A couple of things just to put it out there. There are elections coming up, and the Mount Pleasant Chamber has a forum coming up in October. I don't know. Look at the website. Yeah. And there's also a mayoral breakfast October 28th at the Harbor Entrepreneur Center.
Oh,
and it will
October 28th?
That's right. October 28th at the Harbor Entrepreneur Center. And it will be
breakfast?
It's a panel discussion with Mayor Haney, Mayor Cogswell, and Mayor Burgess. So the big three in our region are going to be there, have a little panel discussion. It will be hosted by none other than Grady Johnson, the guy who used to host all of them when the South Carolina, the business journals, Charleston Regional Business Journal used to host those.
I didn't know that.
Those big, like breakfast for some of the business expos and stuff. And so Grady's coming back. He's going to be the MC. We'll ask some good questions, be a lot of good fellowship. And if you haven't checked out the Harbor Entrepreneur Center, this will be an opportunity for you to do that.
It's a really cool space, y'all.
It's a cool space, and it should be perfect weather in October, so even if the HVAC is acting up, it won't be hot. So that's it.
Yeah. There's a bit of an issue there, but no, it's
okay.
exactly. It's gonna be in the fall. It's gonna be a beautiful fall day.
Yeah.
It's for good networking, and to see what the economy is going to be looking like for all three counties, right?
Cities.
All three cities.
Yeah.
That's what I meant. Yeah, all three cities. That's awesome. Matt, thanks for your time. Both Matts, thanks for your time. Engineer Matt and Economic Development Officer Matt, Town of Mount Pleasant. Thank you to the Mount Pleasant Chamber. Thank you to Charleston Media Solutions. Darius Kelly Design, what's up? Go to mountpleasantchamber.com. Is it .com or .org? Oh, man, marketing chair doesn't know if it's .com. I think it's .com. mountpleasantchamber.com for more information and to find out about those events.
Those events should be populated soon, I think, on there.
Also follow Made in Mount Pleasant on LinkedIn.
Yeah, on LinkedIn, Mount Pleasant Made on LinkedIn, mountpleasantmade.com. And we have an Instagram that is kind of getting fired up. So follow it and look for some good business features over the next 6 weeks.
Love it. Thanks, guys. We'll see you soon, listeners. Thanks, Matt.